Hey everybody, Ben Woolfolk, 12 Rivers Realty, and this is your 2023 market wrap up and a 2024 forecast. What's going to happen next year in the Austin real estate market? Well, let's first look at 2023 to explain why we got in this situation and what 2024 could look like. What all's going on to make 2024 a little bit different, and I think it definitely will be. 2023 we can just call the year of the interest rate. In in the tail end of 2022 and about halfway through 2023, the Federal Reserve had to raise interest rates um, in order to stop inflation and actually reduce inflation. We were, anywhere between 7 and 9% inflation year over year, and our dollar was just losing value. So we had to stop those artificially low mortgage and lending interest rates and during the pandemic of the 2s and 3%. Now they had to keep those low in order, for the U.S. economy to stay healthy and come out of the pandemic as best as possible. Um, Now, that bill came due, basically. We got that cheap money for a long time, which was wonderful and everybody enjoyed it, but eventually we had to pay for it. And we did that in 2023 with rapid inflation. So the Federal Reserve raised interest rates faster than they have raised interest rates in 40 years. So if it felt like every time you talked to me last year, or every time I made one of these videos, or every time you turned on anything real estate related, everything that was being talked about was interest rates, it's because they went up the fastest that they've went up in 4 decades. We were in the high twos, around three, and then I had a client around, what was it, August of last year, get quoted 8%. So in about a year, they went from, call it 3% to 8%. And after this market during the pandemic, with all that cheap money, had appreciated 40%, we had that perfect storm of these incredibly high interest rates and these incredibly high property values. And it just priced most of the buyers out of the market. People just said, no, I've had enough. We're not going to do this anymore. We can't afford to, even if we wanted to. So a lot of people hopped on the sidelines. It slowed the market down just like it intended. Um, and so now the Fed is saying, okay, we can ease off on that. Inflation is down to, I think 3.1 was the last the metric that I saw. So that's a much more tolerable in rate of inflation. So they're saying, hey, in 2024, we're going to cut interest rates up to 3 times. Interest rates just on that news have fallen. The third party mortgage interest rates have fallen almost a full percentage point. We're in the mid sevens. I got quoted earlier this week at 6.5. That's without buying any points down. So we're already really coming down on interest rates really fast. And I think if the Fed keeps that policy set for 2024, that's what's going to change the whole game for us in 2024. And now, when those interest rates went up and all the buyers pulled out of the market, home prices started to come down. So we appreciated about 40% through the 3.5 years of the pandemic. We gave back about 16%, 16 to 18% of that. So, but we're still well over 20% appreciation, which is, more like 4 to 5 years organic appreciation for Austin. So we're still well ahead of the curve. Home prices are still fairly high compared to what they were. 2019, our median home price was, in the mid 300s, and now it's in the mid 400s. So those are coming back down. I think a lot of the buyers that pulled out of the market last year, they're going to be hopping in the market when their lease comes up in mid 2024. Most landlords like to structure leases to end around mid-year. And I think it's going to take a while for a lot of buyers to watch the market and say, okay, it's stable. I'm hopping back in. So if you're a buyer, I would probably suggest, I think you're going to be happier if you can get out there Q1, early Q2 of 2024. Yeah, your interest rate may be, quarter of a point, half a point higher than where it'll be in, say, the fall of 2024. But home prices should be much higher at the end of the year than they are at the beginning of the year, just with all of the competition. And we're going back to a normal buying cycle, which means, so in all of the country, but really in Austin, we have this buying cycle of January, February. People start to look at houses, and then March, April, all the way up through June, July. Prices go up, competition goes up. A lot of people put their property on the market, and it gets it gets pretty darn competitive. And then June, July, August, it really levels out, and we get a little bump in October, but then it just falls flat. Through the holidays, everybody's doing the holiday thing, and then we start that cycle over again. Next year, January, February, a little bit slow, ramps up really fast, March through July. So again, if you can get out there a little bit sooner than later, you're going to be in great shape. So sellers, how are we going to look at this? I would start talking to your tenant, or if you chose to stay in that property an extra year and you want to sell it this year, I would go ahead and reach out and let's keep an eye on the market. I love really keeping an eye and watching other properties sell until it's right time for you. I think mid-year is going to be that sweet spot of rates are getting low enough. All of the buyers have the confidence to come back on the market. But we need to start having that conversation sooner than later. You don't want to wait, miss the market, and end up going on August, September, October. Not the end of the world, just not ideal. And tenants, as always, if you're going to be in Austin, I think last year I told a lot of people just to re-sign leases, or suggested that they re-sign leases. But this will be a good year to buy. If you're going to stay in Austin, or at least keep this property for at least 2 years, that's about the break even, about the break even point for the cost to buy. The lending cost to purchase and the due diligence cost, and then your cost to sell at the end of the year. Usually, about 2 years appreciation will offset those. So really, year 3, 4, and 5 is what we really start to make our money. So I'd love to see you hold that property for at least 5 years, whether that's living in or renting it, turning it into an investment property. But if that works for you, great. Let's talk. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to 2024. I really also want to thank everybody who referred someone to me, or used me to buy and sell your house in 2023. 2023 was a pretty slow and, for some folks, difficult year. But I just have to really thank everybody for helping me exceed my goals for 2023 and making it another wonderful year, and choosing to work with me. And it is a choice. There's a lot of great realtors out there, but the folks that chose to refer or work with me, it really does mean a lot. And I'm super thankful for y'all. And hope you have a great new year. And always, as always, don't hesitate to reach out to me if it's anything housing related. How do I file my homestead? Is it time for me to refinance if I bought last year? Where's my air filter? What's a good subcontractor? Literally anything housing related, please don't hesitate to reach out. And I hope everybody has a great 2024, and I look forward to hearing from you.